Welcome into this CBS Sports HQ exclusive. The top overall recruit in the class of 2021, JT Tuimoloau, is set to make his commitment in just minutes right here on HQ. Let's get to know the top tier talent out of Washington State.
When you look at JT Tuimoloau, you see the #1 player in the country for the 2021 class, 6'5", 280-pounder from Sammamish Eastside Catholic in Washington, an elite edge pass rusher who can completely take over games.
And when you look at the colleges, he's down to his Final Four. It includes Ohio State, Oregon, USC, and Washington. Now, I can't guarantee you what school he's going to pick, but the one thing I can guarantee is he's going to be a big-time impact player as a freshman this coming season.
JTT's services coveted coast to coast, and with good reason. The top-ranked player in the class of 2021 has narrowed his decision down to Ohio State, Oregon, USC, and Washington. And there you see it, listed at 6'4.5", 277 pounds. The big man ready to make an impact day one, wherever that may be. We now have the pleasure of welcoming in the top-ranked player in the class of 2021 and his family alongside JT Tuimoloau, joining us to make his commitment right here on HQ. JT, before we make it official, congratulations first and foremost. Give us an idea of what it's been like to have that one next to your name and be recruited by top programs coast to coast nationwide.
Man, it's pretty much a blessing and an honor. You know, I know there's a lot of top tier talent out there, but to have that next to my name, this is a true honor and blessing to have that, and to be recruited by all these schools. Again, it's a tremendous honor, and I wouldn't be here without God and my family right beside me.
It is an honor only achieved through hard work, and that, my friend, you have done. I'm sure there's a lot of excitement, a lot of emotions right now in this moment, maybe a sense of relief to come. What sort of emotions are you and your family feeling right now?
Before we were losing a lot of sleep, staying up, really late, talking about what was the best decision for me. And now that we're at this time, I think there's been a lot of stress and a lot of relief that's been lifted off our shoulders. So yeah.
Well, hopefully you can take a deep breath, enjoy this moment, enjoy the celebration. We're going to get to it in just a bit. Stay put. We're going to be back with you in just a minute to make it official here on HQ.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, let's take a look now at the 24/7 overall rankings in the class of 2021. There you see the headliner, JTT, about to make one coaching staff's day and holiday, that is. That's going to be a long-awaited celebration. Tuimoloau is the only player in the class of 2021 top 100 that has yet to make his commitment. For more insight, we turn to our guys from 24/7 Sports, Steve Wiltfong and Brandon Huffman. Fellas, potentially program-defining moments await here on HQ in just a bit. Nobody knows these prospects better than you, gentlemen. Brandon, you've gotten to know JTT and his family personally throughout this process. Introduce us to the young man that you've come to know.
Well, I mean, he's one of the most incredible kids you're going to find. Not just a great football player, but just an incredible person. His family, his support system, his parents, Ponce and Alofa, the extended family, grandma and grandpa, cousins, so many people have been really a village around him. And, they say it takes a village, and you have seen that in action for the last 4 years. And this is the moment they've been waiting for, the moment that most of the country's been waiting for. But this isn't what just defines JT. As great of a player as he is, he's just as great of a kid off the field. An outstanding student, a leader in his community, a leader on his campus, a leader in his church. He's everything that you want a guy to be off the field. But then when you get him on the field, you see why he is an elite pass rusher, a wire-to-wire #1 player on 24/7 Sports. We did our first ranking in the summer of 2018. He was at #1. When we did the final ranking, he was at #1. And every subsequent ranking in the middle, he was #1. An elite 5-star player, but really an elite 5-star person off the field as well. And much of that credit goes to his family and his support system around him.
No doubt the complete package. Steve, from where you're sitting, what's this recruitment process around JT been like?
Well, this is a prospect you obviously wait on, one of the more special defensive linemen to come out in the last 5-10 years. And last July 4th, you put up that graphic of the top 10 players. The #1 quarterback in the country, Caleb Williams, announced with us on CBS HQ And now here we are a year later, because this is a prospect you wait on. You say, look, JT, you're going to make this decision on your timeline and you want to make visits. And he waited out the pandemic and got the opportunity to make visits in June. This is when we start class, and you can come whenever you want as long as you're here before this day. So this is how coveted this young man was by these programs, not only because he's an incredibly versatile defensive lineman, and as Brandon Huffman has written several times, could potentially have been a 5-star tight end prospect. I've seen him be a vertical threat for the FSP 7-on-7 team at numerous tournaments over the years. And so now here we are. We're down to 4. You have the Ohio State Buckeyes, the 24/7 Sports crystal ball leader, and the 3 Pac-12 programs that he would be a mega game changer for in Oregon, Washington, and USC here at the finish line.
Well, the commitment coming far later than the rest of the class, as you just mentioned. But Brandon, what are your expectations on Tuimoloau's impact in his first season on campus, whatever campus that may be?
Well, he's going to be an instant impact guy. I mean, that's the kind of ability that he has. That the second he steps foot on campus, he's going to get acclimated really quickly to the college offseason strength program. It might only be a short amount of time between now and when the season starts, or when fall practice starts, but he's got that ability. It wasn't like he was sitting idly by when his high school football season ended. He played the spring football season. He went right into basketball. He's in elite basketball. We haven't talked enough about the basketball player he is. He has Power 5 offers as just a basketball player exclusively. So he's an elite athlete, the guy that can make a transition from football to basketball right back to football pretty quickly. So I expect him to be able to make a pretty seamless transition, to be able to be an impact player this fall. It may take him a couple games to get his feet wet, but by the end of the season, by the time we get down to conference championship games heading into the playoffs, I see JT being an impact player at whatever school he chooses. And by year 2 or 3, that's when I think we're seeing the really, really special part of him really come out.
Our guy from 24/7 Sports breaking it all down. Gentlemen, we thank you for setting the stage. We're going to take a quick 60-second break, but don't move. That man right there will make his official commitment on the other side of the break. You're watching CBS Sports HQ. Back on CBS Sports HQ with the top-ranked recruit in the class of 2021 set to make his official commitment right here in moments on CBS Sports HQ. Defensive lineman JT Tuimoloau has narrowed his decision to Oregon, Ohio State, USC, and Washington. The 5-star phenom's accolades, they're far-reaching, and it's time to carry that legacy to one of his 4 finalist schools. Back in the mix with the top-ranked prospect in the class of 2021, JT Tuimoloau. JT, you have earned this moment through your hard work. The floor is yours. Tell the people where you'll be playing your college ball.
Before I announce, I'd just like to thank God for blessing me with this opportunity, amazing family, support system behind me. I would like to thank all my teachers, coaches, and trainers who have helped me throughout my journey. I'd like to thank the University of Washington, Coach Lake and the staff, Ohio State, Coach Danny and the Buckeye family, University of Oregon, Coach Cristobal, and the Duck family, and USC, Coach Hudson, and the Trojan family for their patience throughout my process. I'd like to thank my mom and dad for the sacrifices, their endless love. I'd like to thank my grandparents for their countless prayers, my forever fans behind me, for their support and love, my siblings, for being my #1 fans on off the field and court, all my teammates who became brothers throughout the years. This has been one long and thoughtful voyage. With that being said, I'm blessed to announce that for the next 3 to 4 years, I'll be attending The Ohio State University.
There it is. Everybody looking good in their Ohio State gear. What a moment. JT, congratulations, first and foremost. It was down to that trio of Pac-12 programs and Ohio State. You make your home in Washington State, much closer to Pac-12 land. What about Columbus felt like home to you?
When we went out there as a family, me, mom, dad, and my little brother and uncle, for being the first time in Columbus, we didn't know what to expect, but man, it just felt like home. The people were very genuine, first-class people, and also, the players felt like a brotherhood.
No doubt. This is a decision years in the making, and finally it's official. How soon are you expecting to head on to Columbus and start making your mark on that program?
we'll be meeting with them, but I'm pretty sure we'll be out there soon. But for now, I'll just be training, be meeting with them every day, and just keep my head down, stay humble, stay close to God.
You know, we hear a lot about DBU, maybe linebacker U. You now fall into a long line of defensive line products to join this Buckeye program, from the Bosa brothers to Chase Young, a whole host of others, some talent on that roster right now as well. How important was it to you to go to a program known for developing defensive line talent the way that the Buckeyes do?
You know, that was big on my list for me and my family. It was being developed not only as a player but as a person, and I feel like what Coach Johnson has been doing over there, and his legacy behind it, I feel like they can make it happen.
Well, you got the eyes and ears of Buckeye Nation right now, and the floor is once again yours. What do you want to tell those faithful fans in Columbus?
Go Buckeyes, and we'll be out there soon.
Go Bucks!
We'll give you an OHIO and a huge congratulations, JT, from here, us at CBS, wishing you all the best moving forward. I got to get one from you. Can I get an OH?
Yes, sir.
There it is. IO, baby. Congratulations. JTT making it official. He is a Buckeye. Making all the Columbus faithful real happy right about now. The 5-star product and top-ranked player in the class of 2021, taking his talents to Columbus to join a defensive line already stout and a team with eyes on a national title. JTT saying OHIO. For instant reaction, let's check in with our guys from 24/7 Sports, Steve Wiltfong and Brandon Huffman. Gentlemen, it's now official. JTT heading to Columbus. Brandon, you've been on this story from the outset. Your initial reaction is what?
Well, this is the school that I had predicted over a year ago that he was going to go to. I never changed on my crystal ball. There were times when other schools felt good. I always felt like the Buckeyes were the team to beat. When he went out on his official visit, just hearing how the visit went, I knew at that point that Ohio State was going to be nearly impossible to top. They were the only school in his Final Five that he had never been to. He said that they had set a high bar going into the visit and then surpassed everything on the trip. That's when I knew that Columbus was going to be his destination. This goes back to about 2.5 years ago when on Christmas Day in 2018, his teammate G. Scott Jr. picked Ohio State on Christmas Day. A few months later at a 7-on-7 tournament, JT's mom, Alofa, wore an Ohio State shirt to a 7-on-7 tournament. G. Scott Sr. said to me, keep an eye on it. These guys are going to be playing together in college. Here we are, almost 2 years since that 7-on-7 tournament, 2.5 years since G started the pipeline. Emeka Egbuka joined it, and now JT puts the exclamation point on 3 top 50 players from the state of Washington that Ryan Day has signed. And I think this is a huge victory for the Buckeyes because it gives them now 2 top 5 pass rushers in the country who just both happen to be 2 top 5 players in the country to join Jack Sawyer. You also got Donovan Jackson, an elite offensive lineman, Travion Henderson, a running back, and then Emeka Egbuka, a fellow Washingtonian. I think Ryan Day has to be absolutely giddy with how he put the final exclamation point on this 2021 class, getting the premier player, the wire-to-wire player in 2021 since 2018 in landing JT today.
Yeah, we just saw it, the top 10 rankings there in the class, and it's littered with that Ohio State logo. Steve, give us the tea leaves here on what this means for the rest of the class. Yes, most everybody is committed in the class of 2021, but what does this mean for class rankings as a whole?
Yeah, 2021 in the books, and this is a Ohio State class that could maybe rival the potential of that 2017 class that produced so many first-round draft picks. Brandon touched on it with JT and Jack Sawyer. This is a program that it's national championship or bust every year, and those are 2 pieces that probably keep the Buckeyes as one of the best teams in the trenches for years to come. And I think that pedigree was a big reason why they landed JT today. You look at the track record of Larry Johnson and the Buckeye staff with Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Chase Young. But because of Nick Bosa's injury, they didn't get to run Nick Bosa and Chase Young out there together very much. But Jack Sawyer and JT together That's a pretty scary duo for years to come. And then you say Ohio State, they signed 5-star quarterback Kyle McCord. They signed the best running back duo in the country with the number 1 player at the position, Travion Henderson and Evan Pryor. They arguably signed the best receiver class in the country, headlined by Emeka Egbuka, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is already drawing rave reviews from sources around the program. Donovan Jackson's the best interior offensive lineman in the country. I didn't even mention Mike Hall, who was was in the discussion for a potential 5th star as we finished up the 2021 rankings. And so Ohio State is bringing in a special class. And it's just unbelievable how special this class is, because it still finishes number 2 behind Alabama's best class of all time, and something that's going to be interesting to me to follow for years to come, because I think you're going to see Alabama and Ohio State play some meaningful games at the end of these seasons. You got Sawyer and JT, and then you have the other duo going to Alabama and 5-star offensive tackles Tommy Brockemeyer and J.C. Latham, and that's going to be must-see TV for me in the trenches.
Yeah, when you got that 1 next to your name, it's going to come down to those last 4 teams of the season for sure. And this is now JTT, the latest defensive lineman to choose the Buckeyes, and defensive line coach Larry Johnson. You got the Bosa's, as you mentioned, Chase Young. Right now on campus, there's a former 5-star in Zach Harrison, fellow 2021 top 5 prospect Jack Sawyer. Brandon, as you look at this class and what Coach Johnson's been able to accomplish on the recruiting trail, just how impressed have you been by their effectiveness in recruiting coast to coast?
Oh, I think that's what's probably been the most remarkable thing, because Ohio State has had players come from the West Coast over time, but it really wasn't until Urban Meyer landed Marcus Baugh in the 2013 class that you really started to see a concerted effort to hit the West Coast. And then you had Wyatt Davis come a few years later. Then it really was the 2020 class when you had G. Scott, you had Court Williams, you had Lathan Ransom, you had C.J. Stroud, who could potentially be their starting quarterback for a team many think could win a national championship. And then in this last year's class, you go and get an Emeka Egbuka. You now get a JT. You're really starting to see kind of a last frontier that Ohio State never prioritized, now not just becoming a priority, but to become a place that's becoming pretty fertile for them. And so I think when you look at Ohio State and you see what the national brand that they are, and now we throw in name, image, and likeness, players can now go to Ohio State and know that their brand is going to be able to be on display at a college that has an elite national brand. And Larry Johnson, we cannot say enough about him in this recruitment, because at the end of the day, Larry Johnson was the biggest key figure in JT's recruitment. He talked about the other coaches that recruited him. He talked about the head coaches and those relationships. But every time I talked to him, he would always bring up Larry Johnson, Larry Johnson, Larry Johnson, his success, his history with defensive linemen, the relationship he had. And then when he finally got a chance to sit down with him and meet him on his official visit, he was blown away. The family was blown away. Larry Johnson on this one deserves every single assist possible. Ryan Day played a big role, of course. There's no question about that. G. Scott Jr. did, Emeka Egbuka did, but at the end of the day, Larry Johnson should be the guy that walks away going, man, I really did my part on this one, because he certainly did.
Things are clicking in Ohio, because I will add the 2022 top overall ranked prospect, Quinn Ewers, also heading to Columbus. The brand is strong for the Buckeyes, gentlemen. We thank you for the insights, as always. And don't forget, there's only one place for all your recruiting needs. Our guys break it all down each and every day at 24/7 Sports. All the latest news, notes, and commitments, wall-to-wall team coverage from coast to coast. Get all your information from 24/7 Sports.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.